There we go. Oh, man, couldn't get us up there for a moment. What's going on, everybody? Christian Franks with TexasWest Capital. We got Mr. Andrew Parrish, co-founder of Arch Public. And in case you can't read it, in case it's not neon enough and in your face enough, Mr. Tillman Holloway, the CEO of Arch Public. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing
I think
good.
that's a default setting. When you put CEO in there, it makes it big and blue. Just it's like,
Oh, is that what it is?
yeah, I think that's what it is.
Oh, man. So, hey, guys, listen, new all-time high recently, and then again, and then again, and then again.
Yeah.
And then we got a pullback, and all of a sudden it was the end of the world, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, price discovery is a fun place to be, and it's not going to stop. I don't think, I told Andrew a long time ago, my price target kind of for an immediate pullback was 122, and it hit it almost perfectly. Not to say that I'm a genius or anything, but just saying that to be expected that we to be expected that we should have a little bit of a pullback at some point, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at the last 5 months, this is just the logic behind my reasoning. I think a new era has taken over the markets. And the new era is the rising tide of ETF money. I think that is the most powerful constant force in the space. And so what does that constant force mean? Well, it means a constant buy floor. Andrew says buy floor all the time. And I think he's right. I think that there's this irrespective of price, I think there's going to be buyers in the market every single day for Bitcoin that didn't exist a year ago, didn't exist 2 years ago. And I think that number is going to continue to grow, where people are essentially just using it as a savings account and they're DCAing with the money that they make. And, that's going to happen naturally just in the fact that the S&P 500 has Coinbase in it. But it's going to happen more dramatically and more directly with people who get involved with Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin treasury component of this is going to impact every employee of those companies that have treasury components and have stock in those companies. So the day and age of the market makers being the miners is over. The day and age where the ICOs being the market makers are over. I think Wall Street's the market maker now. And so here's my punchline. Since Wall Street's really had a strangle, since futures volume has been a multiplier of spot volume, we've seen very steady increases in price in $10,000 chunks. It's like gone 75 to 85, 85, 95, 95, 105, 105, 115, 115, 125. And so I'm just looking at it as kind of, some sort of pattern that I'm paying attention to until it's broken. And I think, we'll probably pause a little bit, and I think we'll have another run, and I think we'll pause a little bit and have another run. But I think there's too many people's minds are around numbers like 200K, 250K, 300K. Like, I don't think if you polled all of the people that are, avid buyers of Bitcoin and you said, hey, where are we in this pump? I think most people would say, we're going to at least get to 350. I think most people think we're going to get to 500. So I think because of that, we're going to continue to leg up higher, and there'll be actually ways in which they'll suppress the price along the way just to make sure that they continue to accumulate the bags that they want themselves.
Well, to the point about there being a high floor, high ceiling effect with Bitcoin right now. As of yesterday, I think the reported AUM for BlackRock's IBIT product is just under 84 billion right now. So it's not out of the realm at all that IBIT gets to 100 billion by the end of Q3. It's just not. At the end of last year, it was at or a little bit above 40 billion. Yeah. So it's more than doubled its assets under management through the half of this year, right? Just half of this year. It is an extraordinary story. Will continue to be an extraordinary story. And that's what the high floor basically is. I've said it a bunch of times on this show, and I'll keep saying it. The market psychology is just a collection of overall psychology of the participants of that market. Well, larger share of participants of that market is buy low and sell when you die. And when you need cash, when you need to extract value for purchases or lifestyle, or whatever, you simply borrow against your equity positions. And so they just don't sell. So the type of folks that are buying into IBIT are not traders. They're folks that are thinking, well, Larry Fink says it's going to 500 to 700K, so I'm just going to leave it in there and see what happens. And I'll probably keep putting more money in there. So,
well, and the writing's on the wall. If JP Morgan is willing to offer loans with Bitcoin as being collateral, what do you think Larry Fink's going to do? I mean, he's going to have a whole loan system built on Bitcoin being collateral. And once you, again, this is all about the strength of the collateral that Bitcoin is. It's all about the collateral, right? Because why? Well, that proves what we've all said, which is hard asset, root asset, base asset. That is the collateral everybody wants. That's in the old days what everybody wanted was gold, and you would have big fortresses with big walls when you would spend 100 years building the walls and put the gold way down in a hole and have a lot of soldiers guarding it all the time. We don't do that anymore. Bitcoin is the new gold. And I think that we've already started to see that FOMO from institutions, but I think it's just the beginning. I think, raising debt capital to buy Bitcoin is, to me, the NFT space of where this is going. I'm serious.
Oh, okay. It looks like he lost his connection.
The Bitcoin Illuminati heard the word NFT and immediately cut him off.
When he comes back, he's going to blame me again, right?
Yeah, he's gonna blame you, and I'm not sure he's entirely wrong. Okay, let's just be honest here.
Come on now.
You're sitting at the con there, so you've got the controls. But to hold on a second. He's working on stuff. Oh, he might come back here. So looking at Bitcoin as an asset, just again, the way that it's changed, the way that perceptions have changed, the way that Bitcoin enthusiasm has changed. It's found itself. So to give you a gauge of the way that it's changed and the way that it's been accepted across Wall Street, right? So putting out a post today that Gemini IPO is moving quickly through the processes. There's a bunch of different processes. They announced a confidential, S1 filing. The confidential simply means that they're not sharing the S1 filing with the public, which is what they have to do when they file the public S1 filing. So that's going to happen soon, and there's usually a 7 to 10 day roadshow, and then within the following 30 days they go public. So that's all going to happen. Well, who are the underwriters / book runners for Gemini's IPO? Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citigroup, right? Yeah. So that's the only one you don't have there that's not mentioned there, and they may be a secondary underwriter when it's all said and done. It's like Morgan Stanley. Right, that is the elite of the elite when it comes to
white glove, yeah,
when it comes to an IPO. So, as an example, right, to give you an example, who were the underwriters associated with like the Nakamoto RTO and PIPE? It wasn't Goldman Sachs, it wasn't JP Morgan, it wasn't Citigroup. Okay, so you have elite Wall Street institutions wanting to cozy up to Bitcoin backed organizations that have the ability to generate revenue on an ongoing basis in a very, very serious way. And so I think the same banks will probably be involved with Grayscale. So what we're going to see in terms of the broadening of the ecosystem associated with Bitcoin and crypto overall is these organizations have proven to themselves the scale of capital that wants to come into this asset class, right? So JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Citigroup are all authorized participants inside of the Bitcoin ETF flywheel. They're like, holy smokes, there's a lot of money coming into these things, and we had no idea it was going to look like this. All right, so how do we quickly get our hands around the next thing that's going to happen? And of course, they saw Circle happen too, right? So there is going to be sort of a Wall Street renaissance associated with Bitcoin that will make, you know, cycles of 2015, 17, and 21 look like child's play.
I'm here for it. I want the pump. Yeah. I mean, I think the world's waiting for the next big leg up of, you know, we were talking this week on Melker's show, and you know, the point that I made was the innovation curve that we are about to experience through AI innovation and through crypto innovation, and when robots start dealing with smart contracts and money, that potential can absorb the inflation curve that we are so afraid of. And so by saying like, oh, we're going to print so much money that the dollar's going to fail and blah, 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 and the sky's falling, I swear to you, like truthfully, I grew up hearing that every single day. Like my dad is a big gold bug, and he has been saying like, you know, if the COMEX ever gets forced to take, you know, give delivery, there's not enough gold, there's not enough silver. And guess what? He's right.
Yeah.
But the market doesn't care because they'd rather trade the paper. And that's the part that those, you know, gold bugs, I guess, didn't see. And so here's the point. There's more people that want to trade paper Bitcoin than they actually want to hold in cold storage. And that's a truth that we all just need to kind of swallow and realize, because it's just the reality of the world that we live in. And so the ecosystem that's being built right now has just started to be built. I mean, there are so many unique vehicles that we're going to be seeing pop up, and unique companies. And, you know, Andrew made a point this week, and it's really, you know, going to be, we're already seeing it, but just to stop and think about it for a second really gives you an idea of what we could see. But there are crypto companies, right? Ripple. How much Ripple do they have? 50 billion Ripple. It's at $3. My math, simple math, says they've got $150 billion of liquidity that they can use for all sorts of fun stuff. And guess what? They've already started. They made it, you know, a secret bid for Circle for some undisclosed amounts of money. Started with, it had a big B behind it. There's all sorts of things that are going on. Robinhood just bought WonderFi out of Canada for a big number. There's billion-dollar acquisitions and IPOs that have just started to pop up. Now, what does that mean? It means that people want to build the casino around this market, because the base product that the market provides is that attractive to the consumer. The consumer looks at it as the next kind of gold rush, and you can see why. And so, you know, I just think that the name of the game is going to be who is able to find that perfect edge where they're giving away the most attractive yield, but they don't go belly up when the tank price has volatile swings. And those people will be handsomely rewarded with market share. And we're already starting to see that. But the game has just started. Like to think that the companies that we're even talking about right now will probably be the dominant forces in the future, it's just kind of naive, because it's not the way the real markets work. The real market works in the way where, like, this market evolves so much. Coinbase gets so big that a bunch of guys at Goldman Sachs say, let's go get them taken. Let's go take them over, essentially. And big capital starts to find homes in big projects that have been underserved. And to say that this community and this market has been underserved is like the understatement of the century. We've been attacked. The entire market has been suppressed
Yeah.
for 8+ years. And now all that innovation is getting highlighted, and that innovation is valuable, and that innovation is going to be acquired for big sums of money. And back to the original point, companies like Ripple, Coinbase, all of these big VC firms that have built their narrative around crypto being centric in their proposition, the money spigots are turning on, and they're turning on big time. And the acquisition train has just started. Just wait 5 years from now how much money we get to count as flowing from TradFi into crypto over the next 5 years. It's going to be a jaw dropping in my estimation.
Well, a couple of things, right? So it's just been announced that now Bank of America is going to do their own stable coin, right? Of course, they're the last of the big banks to announce it. I always laugh when I see a Bank of America announcement of anything that has to do with innovation, because they are the slowest, the worst, but to the point, they're forced to do this, or else they're going to miss out on enormous revenue streams. They're going to see customers move elsewhere. They're not going to be able to keep up with stablecoin usage, both in-house and across the markets, right? So also, this is a precursor to everybody's concerned that the stablecoin bill wasn't going to finally make it to Trump's desk and get signed. Yeah, if B of A is announcing stablecoin for their, inside of their bank, pretty sure that's going to get passed. I mean, that doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out. So again, what I find truly interesting about the next 24 months is who becomes what and what becomes who. I mean, for all intents and purposes, who acquires who merges with who, where does all of this go, right?
Yep.
So where does all of this go? Does somebody acquire Circle because their deal is going to be up with Coinbase at some point? Does Coinbase just acquire Circle, which would probably be the smart thing to do at some point? Are they too expensive now to acquire? Or is Coinbase just waiting for their deal to expire with Circle so that their share price is somewhat depressed and then they acquire? There's going to be so much happening in the space associated with M&A activity that it's going to be hard to keep up with. It really is. It's going to be hard to keep up with, and it's going to be exciting as all get out. It really is.
It is.
Yeah.
Fib has a pretty dark question that I would like to address as maybe the resident conspiratorialist among us. But I do think CBDCs are inevitable. To answer your question, Fibo, I don't think that you can prevent them long term. I don't know.
It happened again. The Bitcoin Illuminati shut him down.
Did you guys? I'm not.
No, you're right here. I can see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Andrew, that's you're in Kentucky. Turn your internet back on. Tell them to turn the state in.
So is Fibo, by the way. That's where the real bearing power is. Come on.
Okay, well, we'll make an exception for him. That's we won't hold that against him. But my point is this: that government is always gravitating towards more control, not less control.
Absolutely.
That is predetermined, like gravity is predetermined in my estimation. So will something cause that to be a security mandate? And I think at some point it will. I think, but it may not happen in our lifetime. Is the good news. I have no idea. I don't think it's imminent. I think that there's too much wealth that is on Bitcoin, for example, that could be an alternative that people that wouldn't be hip to that would almost make Bitcoin more powerful at this point. I think this is a futuristic problem that probably even won't be in our kids' lifetimes. That would be my guess. But you never know how things happen these days. Things accelerate. But to answer your question, yes, CBDCs are an inevitable, and even if it doesn't happen here in the U.S. first, it will happen somewhere. I promise.
Yeah, and we talk here a lot about the financial side of Bitcoin, right? And we talk about the Bitcoin treasury companies. We talk about everything kind of associated with that, and why why it's become so interesting for everybody. But there are other sides, to Bitcoin, and so something I've been trying to talk more about lately is this. This idea of hash power and, as national defense, right? Again, Major Lowry in his book Soft War started talking about it and started explaining why more energy needed to do it is a good thing and how it protects, when you're talking things about like cyber warfare and, because let's face it, everything's getting online these days. We got to protect it, right?
Didn't you write a really forked up book about it too? Didn't that happen?
Yes, I did actually. Okay. I got more coming out.
But yeah, but the problem with that is that it ends poorly. Those an exponential growth curve against a limited supply of energy is failure by definition. Like before you start, I think hash power should be reserved for the highest function, right? And so what is the highest function? Well, the highest function is either control or preservation of liberty. Like that's what it fundamentally comes down to is this technology could enslave people forever or free them forever. That's what we're fighting against. And so to me, the strength of Bitcoin and what it possesses is the freedom from control. That is what attracts people, I think, at the technology level to this, because it's just you deciding to put your computer to work or not. And it's completely independent. And if you put your computer to work, you get paid in this special thing that gets birthed based upon your contribution called Bitcoin.
Listen, if we're going to talk about hash rate, I'm going to unsubscribe from this podcast.
Well, it's too bad, man. It's part of it, man. Listen. Listen. When you look at what Trump's done ever since before he even got in, right?
And the Wall Street bang. He's a TradFi guy. I mean, you might as well just listen.
I mean, a hash rate makes me think there's a bunch of old ugly guys not wearing shoes, smoking marijuana around a circle. I mean, that's what hash rate sounds like to me, right?
I had a hard time even connecting your analogy. That's how far my...
No, you don't, because I know you're not wearing shoes right now.
No,
I know that's true.
I actually am wearing shoes and a very nice shirt, mind you. So, yeah, no.
But really, guys, I mean, when we talk about it, look, Trump has been very... this guy just says, I mean, some of the stuff I see, I'm like, wow. He says... absolutely whatever he wants to say at whatever time, right? But he's been very vocal about basically everything he talks about is the U.S. kind of instead of outsourcing things to other countries and trade and all that, really kind of just bringing everything back in, right? So the reason why I brought that up was because the Pentagon, put money into the only U.S. rare earths company. Just here recently, they were talking about it back in April, and they did it. Now they took a direct equity stake in MP Materials, and so that makes the U.S. government that miner's largest shareholder. And so what we're looking at is they're like, okay, well, we don't want to depend on China, we don't want to depend on other people for that. But I mean, regardless, I really just think, regardless of the way you look at it, everything is becoming digital today. And if everything's becoming digital, that makes it again, we're still going to have kinetic warfare. We're still going to have, bombs and drones and all this stuff. But a lot of this is going to be,
Well, to your point, it becomes your hash rate does to a certain degree, you have to have it for sovereign purposes. I would agree with you in that regard. There has to be some representation for you as a nation on the network. The network, it has value, right? But it has value again collectively as a balance of power, right? For example, so let's say China, and this has happened. Let's say China has 51% of the network hash rate in China. That's a problem. But it's a problem that we collectively as the world can solve really easily together, is unify against that
This
growth.
portion of the podcast is a problem. That's what it is. This portion of the podcast is a problem.
Listen, Larry Fink is tuning
Nobody,
into this to learn about this
I'm
from us
telling you right now, there is nobody listening to this podcast who cares about hash rate. Zero.
But they should.
The number, that doesn't matter. 0 people care about hash rate. 0. None.
Well, what do you want to talk about then, Andrew?
Well, but let's extend it.
How about we talk about the fact that
to the price.
Last week Fibo was prophetic in the fact that Jay Powell was about to be bounced out of the Fed, and the fact that the markets, when it was confirmed that the Fed chair is about to be fired, did basically nothing. Like the markets are not reacting. I mean, CNBC is talking about the Fed chair is about to be fired, associated with spending $47,000 billion on their new headquarters, right? And so it goes to a reality and a truth associated with the way that everyone that makes up the market thinks about markets and how they act and react. Every dip, almost across every market that's associated with the United States, is for buying. And we're going to be in this extended period, especially with Bitcoin. Every dip is for buying, right? And capital is going to flood the system. So we saw a move down. You know, Chris, you and I were talking about it when we first got on before the show started. You were waiting for a level to hit associated with your MES position.
Yeah.
And by the way, our Arch Public customers, had an absolute crushing result on their ES and MES positions on our gap strategy today, brought to you by the bright mind that is Tillman Holloway, Bitcoin enthusiast.
No longer CEO, just Bitcoin enthusiast.
Who's created these strategies internally. So point being is you get that dip if you've got some things going on with Chris and his group, and then our algorithmic work, you clip significant, some significant performance there. But overall, the market is basically doesn't care that the Fed chair is about to get broomed. And so we're in this moment. We talked about it last week, right? We bomb Iran. Okay. We bomb Iran. 2 days later, nobody cares. The market set new all-time highs.
Yeah.
The Fed chair, who manages monetary policy for all intents and purposes, the entire planet, he's gonna get bounced. All right, there was some sort of response over about a 15-minute period, and we're back to where we were. Like that is just remarkable stuff. It's really remarkable stuff. It's such a shift to where we, narratives and where we've been for such a long time. And the narratives that, the likes of, CNBC wants to push. Oh, if they push Fed chair out, Trump's an idiot and the market's going to just absolute get crushed. No, that's not true either. So and again, that trickles down to Bitcoin, right? It trickles down to Bitcoin price action. Like, where is the sentiment? Well, the sentiment is fairly simple. It's just higher. That's where the sentiment is, and that's where the capital is headed.
And Roy had a question here. He was asking. He's like, "Can the Fed chair be fired?" And not at will. So you can't just fire the Fed chair because you disagree. You disagree.
With it
or whatever.
Right.
There's got to be inefficiency, like neglect,
for cause,
malfeasance. Yeah, for cause, exactly.
For cause.
And so that's what Andrew was talking about earlier with the whole spending all that opulent amount of money on that opulent place. What'd you say? Thousands of millions? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's for 47,000 billions of dollars. But no, I mean they're doing renovations at the Fed to the tune of now more than $2.5 billion.
That's crazy.
Like, what in the world are they doing inside of that building? Heaven
And
only
gold
knows.
toilets. Liberace'd be proud.
Gold toilets and polo shirts. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what they're spending their money on.
The
So yeah,
heartbeat of the world.
he can be. What was that?
I said the heartbeat of the world, arguably. That's where all the liquidity gets pumped from.
Don't mess it up. No. But yeah, no, you know. So yeah, he can be popped out of there if he's doing something wrong, basically. You know, but so it has to be for cause, but it can be done.
He's gonna get enough pressure where it's gonna be uncomfortable enough where he's gonna leave.
I can't believe it's not uncomfortable enough already. I mean, he's been yanking down his chain there the entire time.
You know, the smartest men that I've ever negotiated against, they're really good and they're very patient and they turn the dial ever so slightly until you break. And I think that's what's going on. So you just
it's awesome when Tillman describes me almost in like the third person, right? Like when he does that, and I know he's giving me a compliment, but he doesn't want to make it too much. You know what I mean? I do.
And I'm supposed to be giving him flowers during this episode.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
I just
right.
did. I talked about the trade and our customers, and it comes from his brain and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you a quote now that will be the title of this episode. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people. And we just spent the last 5 minutes talking about other people. So just let that stew on you for a little bit.
Yeah.
And put yourself
what
in
kind
one
of minds
those
talk
three
about hash
buckets,
rate?
Andrew.
That's what I want to know. That's not even people
ideas,
or
baby.
ideas.
That's ideas. And here's the thing.
Minds are talking about those
hash
ideas.
rate. Listen, here's the thing.
Man.
It does affect the price. Because here's what's going to happen. If the Pentagon, if the DOD is interested in hash rate, money is going to flow to miners and others, and that's going to increase it, right? We're going to get increase in hash rate. The Bitcoin's price is going to go up. It's a natural result of it. I mean, that's kind of where we're, you know, when we get to it's not just national defense. National defense has, you know, monetary benefits to it for companies involved, right?
It's a new weapon. It's the way in which you build the most secure vault that exists on the earth.
Exactly.
And so if you believe a vault has value to countries, then you have to wonder if they are going to have a contribution to that vault. And if they do, then they can ensure it against the community's effort all of their secure information with absolute guarantee that it can't be cracked, because it's essentially, it's the same type of a relationship that the petrodollar has formed. Yeah. You all get together and you go, okay, here's how much oil we're going to contribute. Here's how much oil we're going to contribute. And that collectively is the market maker for the price of oil. Well, if you do the same thing with hash rate, if you collectively contribute all of the hash rate that, you know, all the unified countries contribute, then that data set is the most secure data set on the planet. That, I think that's, Chris, can we agree upon that?
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, again, when it comes to Trump, you know, Trump is like, screw the rest of y'all. We're, you know, he's like, I'm daddy, right? I mean, what was it? Was it at the conference where they referred to him as daddy? And
but
I don't
it
think
will just inspire market response is the point. That's the beauty of Bitcoin, is it just is a free market. And so if he wants to be daddy, he can be daddy until somebody else wants to be daddy too. And then it's just a race to being daddy. And that's good for the price of Bitcoin, to your point earlier.
Thank you.
That is
Thank you. That's where I was getting to with all that. Yes. Andrew's having a lot of camera problems here today.
Andrew, I noticed you have a rainbow on your shirt.
This whole
I like that
conversation.
sweatshirt. How many sweatshirts like that do you own?
This whole conversation makes me hungry for hash browns. I don't know why. I'm thinking of ordering some.
When you get a chance, will you send me the link to the official KOL outfit.
Yes.
Fire.
Yes, I will. They send you this box, right?
I know.
They send you this box, and it's a whole thing. You got to make adjustments and changes. And
is it like a monthly box that you get with updates? I mean, it's still
no.
black.
They only give you the box once, and then you've got to hit different levels to get new boxes, right? Once you hit one level, it's all the clothing and stuff. You hit another level, they send you some stuff with some podcasting equipment in it. And then when you hit another level, then they start sending you gifts from companies that want to be a part of your podcast. It's a whole network. Yeah,
they don't get through my security team. I burn those boxes at the
Well, and then effectively you'd be producing hash rate with your burning of the thing.
Or at least ash rate, right? Ash rate. There we go.
I do think it's important and compelling to talk about the fact that we're in the middle of sell in May and go away, and we've had extraordinary price action on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's the question is, what does that say about what happens in September and October? We'd like to think that this means that in September and October, we have even significantly more power behind a move higher. Yeah. But Bitcoin has a way of upsetting your what you think is going to happen, right? Oh. It has a way of doing that. So I don't know what happens in September, October, but it would seem to me, that when everybody comes back from their vacation homes, and being fairly disconnected from the markets themselves. I mean, heck, I was listening to some of the commentary about, the Fed chairman getting fired, and one guy that called in is a well-known guy. But again, they made a joke about where he was at, right? Wasn't in his office, was somewhere, was on a beach, somewhere, was again on vacation. That is the nature of executives across Wall Street right now. That's just the nature of it. So to have, the likes of IBIT have and the larger Bitcoin ETF asset class having $1 billion days, IBIT having $1 billion of inflows in one day.
While treasury companies are raising $750 million.
Right.
Right. While Bitcoin's reaching all-time highs on the spot price. Like it's a ridiculous amount of money that's starting to come in.
And while sailors, continuing to buy half $1 billion at a clip.
Yeah.
Right. So again, what does that look like? Like I try and connect the dots, right? So if Gemini ends up going public, let's call it late August, early September, that's right in the middle of, okay, everybody's back, right? Everybody's back and they're trying to catch that proverbial wave. I guarantee you something that will be highlighted in their S1 is how much Bitcoin they have on their balance sheet. How much Bitcoin are they custodying? Whatever version of packaging, how much Bitcoin is involved with Gemini, they're going to highlight, right? And so, I think there's going to be a wave of continued capital that finds its way into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes higher. I mean, I actually put out a tweet yesterday about the technical analysis that I had done that shows that Bitcoin is going higher. I don't know if you have that.
I will not show
Chris.
That on here.
I don't know how many crayons you used. I've seen that 100 times. I wanted to tell you should take that down.
I'm not taking that down.
That was an underperforming post for sure.
He's not holding back there, Andrew. Tillman's going to tell you like it is. I just wanted to know how you got so many different crayons. I mean,
it takes time. It takes time, right? They give you a set of tools as a KOL, and so not everybody has those tools, so you can do stuff like that. You know what I mean? they do it for you. But again, all of the macro tells us that we're going higher.
Well, here's the thing that's interesting.
Everything says we're going higher, not just everything.
Ask yourself this question when you're at these moments, because it ultimately is about opportunity cost, right? It's like, where else would you want to put your money right now?
Yeah. Exactly.
What you tell me? I would love to know. And I think the macro environment we find ourselves in, and the forces, both politically, that are driving us from a printing press perspective, and the inflationary rate that we're experiencing, from the amount of liquidity that I think is about to get injected into the global economy, like all of those things point to Andrew's point, a rising tide that's going to float these crypto assets. But when you're talking about like what crypto really stands for and the romantic aspects of crypto, specifically Bitcoin, um, you talk about something that could go well beyond, from a percentage perspective of allocation, what we're talking about right now. Everybody that is in Wall Street that's coming in is talking about, like, 1 to 3%, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's going to stick. I think, you fast forward 10 years from now, people are going to be talking about 50%, 60%. We're going to find out where the sweet spot is over the next 10 years, because companies are going to be aggressive, and they're going to push the envelope, and they're going to find out, like, okay, if you have 80% and you have a highly positive cash flowing business, maybe you can survive that rate of investment. And maybe that pays off when Bitcoin goes to the moon. You're the sharpest knife in the drawer. You're the shiniest object in the, you're it. But if you don't have a highly profitable cash flowing business, maybe you can't afford that much. Maybe you have to, maybe you can't afford to invest that much. It doesn't fit your business model, at which point you won't be as attractive to capital for expansion opportunities. You won't be. So it's going to be like, it's going to change the way in which people model their businesses, because again, it's the highest, it's being recognized, and it's going to continue to evolve as the best collateral that you can have for a loan. Period. Mark my words. When you go to a bank in 5 years, and they go, "What are you here for?" And you go, I want to borrow money." Okay, well, what do you want as collateral? You have options, right? I want a HELOC. Oh, you want to use your home equity as collateral. Okay, here's your rate. I want to borrow against my car. I've paid it off. Here's my title. Will you lend me against that? Yes, here's your rate. I want to borrow against whatever you can list that they'll lend you money against. I guarantee Bitcoin will be on that list, and you're going to get a better rate for borrowing against that than you will anything else, a lower rate. So what does that mean? It means that anybody who is interested in borrowing money for expansion efforts, for inflationary defense efforts, all of the qualities that Bitcoin possesses, now they have an incentive for top line growth, because they can use it as collateral against loans for those expansion efforts. And we're already seeing that in Arch Public. We have companies that are literally coming to us and going, "We want to put money into Bitcoin every month because we've already got a way in which we're gonna produce yield with it, or we're gonna lend it on a DeFi platform, or we're going to build up a treasury, and then when we can borrow against it." Like, they've already got that in their sites. Like, it's already out there. In fact, publicly traded companies are doing it as far down the list as XRP. There's a Vivo Power, publicly traded on the NASDAQ, has 100 million of XRP, and they've committed it to staking on the Flare network. Now, you tell me, if that's happening, what's happening on Bitcoin? Yeah, you just ready. Those headlines are going to make jaw drops, because that's where the new banking system is born. That's where Web3 banking is originated. And he who has the Bitcoin, Michael Saylor, i.e., are going to be the most competitive banks. They will be able to lend the most money. They will be lending a lot of money out, and Bitcoin, they'll be using Bitcoin as the collateral against all their financial efforts.
That company, the XRP story, they were clearly smoking some hash when they made that decision.
They're smoking some.
I just want to make that clear. But no, it's not going to. The movement in this direction is not going to slow down, right? There's going to be some bank, it'll probably be one of the larger ones, that ends up being, kind of the preferred bank that gets to this market quickly, and ends up doing, more and more and more loan lending based activities. associated with Bitcoin positions or just crypto positions overall. But my guess is, based on their risk tolerances, it'll be 99% Bitcoin to start. Yeah. And again, that will only serve to, significantly swell the price of Bitcoin. If okay, well, I need a loan on my crypto holdings, but JP Morgan will only do that in Bitcoin. So I guess I got to sell the other 3 large positions I have and put it in Bitcoin so I can get the amount of loan that I want from them based on my Bitcoin. You see what I mean? It
will drive consolidation in the industry,
no doubt,
for sure,
100%.
No
doubt. Which we need.
Yeah, it's a natural evolution of the industry. Yeah.
They got so many stupid cryptos out there. It's ridiculous. And the way it exploded over the last, few years just made it even more stupid. And then people complain about why they can't make money with alts. Well,
yeah, because it's spread so thin. I mean, all of us were around when there was CoinMarketCap had 2,200 assets on it.
Yeah.
2,200. Now the number is unfathomable. I don't know what it is.
20,000, isn't it?
Oh, no,
it's
dude,
way
it's
more than
way.
that.
It's probably closer to 20
millions.
million.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's closer to 20 million.
Yeah, when meme coins came around alone,
that's obviously that's absurd, right? I mean, that's completely absurd.
It's asinine. That's my favorite word. It's asinine.
It's hashanine is what it is. It's hashanine.
I finally figured out what the issue with Andrew is. He's got this issue where he gets focused on one thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and then he just sticks with it the rest of the day.
No, he doesn't care about what he owns, but he eventually will one day. It takes him a long time. He's more passionate about, if I asked him what the variance in the ashtray in the 1987 Porsche 911 1.1.4R2, he'd be able to tell you, well, that ashtray was rectangular in shape with a curved edge.
That was the 997.1.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, he's a dork about certain stuff. He just isn't a dork about our stuff.
Well, we'll get him there.
That's right. Yeah.
We can't let them be calling him a boomer, because that's what they'll do. He's got all that gray in his beard. They'll say, oh, he's a boomer. He's not a boomer. He's Gen X. We can't have that. And then they'll be, oh, look, boomer doesn't want to learn. Boomer doesn't want to learn. We can't let him do that.
I put into our Slack channel a picture of Andrew before he was as fit as he is now. And he used to have some pounds on him as one fellow fat man to another.
I was about to say, man, calling the guy out like that.
We harass each other on this front. In fact, we have a current bet going that we'll share with you guys later. But I put in our Slack channel a picture of Andrew that was very clean shaven, because he has a bet with our sales team that if they hit certain numbers, he's going to shave his beard off. So. Yeah.
Now he's got that bet.
He's got that bet right now.
Yeah, if the sales team on a monthly basis hits a certain number, I'm gonna shave it off.
No, this is beards and Bitcoin. You can't be.
He has to. That's the point. Listen, Chris. Do not rob me of this opportunity, okay? I
here's the thing.
This in my life, okay?
If he loses this and he has to shave that beard, you have to buy him one of them little glue-on beards so you can put it on for the show every week.
Believe me, they went to town on the AI on the whole thing.
No, right? It's been amazing. It's been the greatest event of my week, for sure. We've got AI generated pictures of Andrew that are beardless and very heavy set, doing all sorts of fun stuff. It's really good.
There are a couple comments. There are a couple comments from listeners that are talking about how many cryptos exist now. One says 37 million and one says 18.5. It's probably somewhere in the middle, because that's what the meme coin craze created. You could have somebody on Twitter say, I sharded myself, and then there's 14 different coins inside of 5 minutes that are
shard USD too.
Shart coin, it's no question there needs to be consolidation, but at the same time, they're open markets now. You can do this, and you get to choose if you want to invest in Shart coin or not. And it's your choice. right?
Well, as
Different than
regulations free up industry to participate, mark my words, there will be companies that are, for example, let's say you're a marijuana company and you're already very forward thinking. You've been in crypto for years. You used crypto back when you couldn't get bank accounts, when it was, very heavily regulated federally, and you want to make a bet. And your bet is that you have all these crypto profits that you've been storing up, and you want to put them to work. And you want to put them to work maybe in buying a large quantity of some, unknown coin. And if that hits big, it's going to be a cycle like we've seen in the past, where crypto millionaires are created in the retail space, but it'll be crypto billionaires being created in the enterprise space, in the corporate space. And that's going to happen. I promise you it will happen, because it's the natural evolution of this type of technology. It has that potential. It because of the way it trades 24/7, and because people can access it instantly from any phone in the world, it has the potential for virality. That's the nature of it. And if you have a brand that has the ability to make bets and then have major social pushes that help create successful bets, you're talking about just something that's too good to pass up. And let me give you a good example of that. Taylor Swift. Let's just say she took a ton of her money, which she's got a ton of it.
Yeah.
And let's say she went around and created a fund, the Taylor Swift crypto fund, and she got a ton of investors to put more money in. How much money do you think Taylor could raise for a project? Like a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
She takes that money. She either creates a new coin that's a clone of an existing, or she goes to a coin that's underperforming and she just buys the whole damn supply with that fund. So now she owns an ecosystem, a financial ecosystem. Maybe it's on the Solana chain, maybe wherever it is. And she says, okay, all my merch and all my ticket sales have to be bought in this new chain. She could hand to all of her current best customers huge supplies of coins, and they could be the market makers in terms of selling supply and becoming millionaires on the back of the gift that she's given out to them. She could create a financial can't miss in terms of the liquidity that she could draw into that market and the amount of money that she would make, because the enterprise value of her merch and her tickets, the enterprise value of her brand being pushed into something that she controls the supply of. What do you think's going to happen? Unless people stop buying her music and stop wanting her merch and stop being a fan of hers, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You couldn't miss. It just is a gamble as to how much supply can you buy? Do you start your own project? And how much brand stickiness do you have to drive people in there? Joe Rogan could do the same thing. The UFC with Dana White could do the same thing. There's enough out there where somebody's going to do it one day. Trust me.
And to say you heard it here
millionaires. You're going to make all your friends millionaires. It's like you having the Federal Reserve at your own fingertips and going, Andrew, you know what? We need to pump liquidity into the markets. I'm going to give you so many Tillman tokens. Yeah, we're allocating some tokens for him too. You don't have to bring your kids in to try to get more supply of our imaginary tokens.
Where's he going? Where are you going? No, he just got dressed and wanted to come see me. Okay.
He's like, oh, I want to be a part of that. What's going on?
Yeah,
that's a good look. It makes me not want to make fun of you as much. So yeah,
there we go.
Not me. Not me.
The softer side of
a little softening. Yeah, a little softening goes a long way.
I think that's a great point, though. And who knows? Maybe it becomes the next kind of semi thing here. In the next 5 or 10 years, somebody figures that out, and it just takes one person to do it, and then all of a sudden, everybody else is like, "Oh crap!"
Well, Trump's kind of done it. Trump did it. Trump extracted hundreds of millions of dollars out of Trump coin, and what did he do with it? He bought Bitcoin. He bought Ethereum. He put it on his son's exchange, and that's the liquidity supply that now has made their DeFi exchange a liquid marketplace. Like that's what they did. They created a business based upon betting on their own brand stickiness and their own brand potential. That's going to happen in the future. That's going to happen. Pump.fun may not be the vessel for it going forward, but
hopefully not.
You know what else is really sticky?
I'm afraid to ask. Yeah.
The hash rate conversations are really sticky. Okay. That's what keeps people on a podcast is hash rate.
But it should. It should. You know? They got to learn a little something, right? I mean, we're here to enlighten, right? We're here to share knowledge and whatnot with everybody, right? I mean, hey, maybe they don't know before they came on, but now they know. Maybe they start getting interested and go, man.
If you're trying to, if you're trying to insult the talent, you're doing a good job of it. I am. Next week.
It's very intentional.
This is my expertise, and you trying to rain on my parade is not going to work. Okay, let's not forget who told who about Bitcoin. Okay, let's publicly acknowledge that. And I told you going into this call that I would need you to give me a little more reverence during the and you're not doing a good job of it.
And your expectations of my response.
That's a big word.
Yeah, well,
your expectations of my response.
Yeah, listen, you're supposed to go. Goodness, tell me, can I schedule a private session to learn about hash rate?
I want to schedule a private session on hash rate. That's what I think.
That's right. Yeah, this is what Bitcoin is, by the way.
So a little bit of an announcement. We're going to be making a trip. Arch Public is making a trip back to Vegas in September. The weekend of the 19th, we're going to invite a hodgepodge of our concierge program members to come have some fun with us. We're going to have some distinguished guests at the event that we're going to do over the weekend. We haven't finalized though. We know Scott Melker is going to be there. We're working with Bitwise's team to have some folks there. So we'll have about a half day of really engaging conversation. If we can pull it off, we'd love for Christopher Inks to make it out to Vegas for the weekend. We're just going to have a great time. It's something that we do at Arch Public every quarter. We have a client event somewhere interesting and fun that people can attend and enjoy. Have hash rate conversations face to face with Tillman and I. And
well, maybe not with you.
No, not with me. So
listen, Andrew's such a nerd about Porsches. I have to interrupt you because you're talking about boring. Snooze fest. Y'all call us if you want to go race cars, and it'll be fun. Andrew, out of all the supercars that you could choose at this racetrack that we went to in Vegas, which by the way we're doing at this deal, he chose to drive 3 varieties of Porsches. He didn't even drive anything else. He was like, I'm going to take, and it was like the nuance between the varieties was nothing. Yeah. And he chose that. So, I wouldn't be, don't follow in Andrew's footsteps when you get there. I can assure you.
The truth is that if you know what the greatest sports cars in the world are, that's what you drive. If you need to go look up
I drove that Ferrari 488 GBR,
who holds the record?
I also drove the GTR.
Who holds the record at the Nürburgring for these are records at the Nürburgring. Porsche is littered, and they always set the new standard whenever they come out with a new GT3 RS or GT2 RS. It just is what it is. I mean, excellence. I wake up and I just piss excellence. Okay, that's what I do over here.
Oh, got to bring in the movie quotes, right?
You use the word piss isn't excellent. So you just violated. That was an oxymoron, and you didn't even know it right there in front of everybody. So enough said. I don't even have to argue. You argued with yourself.
Enough said.
In the very nature of who you are.
Now there's another Ocean's 13. There's a game that they're trying to push called Enough Said. That's another great moment in cinematic history. The late great Bernie Mac is hawking a Vegas game. Again, this harkens back to my announcement just moments ago for a Vegas game. Enough said. So if we want to do movie quotes as an entire show, I'm ready for that show. Right? I can take just about any sentence that anybody says on this show and turn it into some sort of movie reference. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, what's the title? Useless hour wasted? I mean, what we can't.
Hey, if y'all are enjoying this, make sure you're hitting the thumbs up and the like and you're following, you're subscribing, all these fun things. Hit the little notification so it lets you know we're coming back every week.
At this point, this show is just me getting to humiliate Andrew publicly to the extent that I can. So it's become one of my favorite hours.
And as per another, again, high-minded individual, Fibo, Porsche cars outdrive the competition on the road because no hash rate can match the thrill of pure speed and precision engineering. So thank you, Fibo. I appreciate your support. I really do. Fibo is he's a well-known friend and a true gentleman. That's what Fibo is.
You kissed his butt earlier on the show.
Wow,
no wonder he's taking your side. You're patronizing to the viewers, and then now kissing his butt even more because he's on the bandwagon of Porsche. Hey, I bet you Fibo's never driven a GBR. That's what I bet. I bet you hadn't. Because let me tell you something. That Ferrari, I am not a car guy. Let me tell you this. I am not a car guy. They don't even get me that excited. But driving both of them, I left going, I get why Ferrari's Ferrari. It's just Ferrari, man. That mid-engine, the balance of that car versus that rear engine and the weight, it just is I'm not saying anything knocks a Porsche. Porsches are unbelievable cars. But if I had to pick one, it'd be the Ferrari.
Well, the problem is there's not a Ferrari dealership here in Kentucky. Not a surprise to anybody.
That should tell you everything you need to know, people.
Yeah, not a Ferrari dealership here in Kentucky.
That tells you everything you need to know right there, big dog.
I'm sure there's horse and buggy factories there.
In fact, that's actually on Ferrari's next slogan campaign. Ferrari, not sold in Kentucky.
Not in Kentucky.
That's the selling point to guys like me.
Yeah,
hey, I appreciate you guys, man. I think we've had a great show today. A lot of fun.
We have.
As always, hoping if we've got people that are Bitcoin detractors and they don't get it yet, hopefully they're open-minded enough and they keep listening. If they do enjoy it and get it, hopefully we give them more information. And look at it just Bitcoin from all different angles, right? I mean, the fact is, you do have the financial side of it. You do have, whether Andrew likes it or not, the hash rate side of it and national defense potentially, you've got so many sides to Bitcoin. And I think that really says a lot to what it is and its ability to hold and continue to grow its place is what it's been doing so far into the future. So, I continue to think there's a great future for Bitcoin and for those involved as we continue, moving on here year after year. And hopefully we'll be here year after year and we can look back on this and say, remember when we told you back in 2024? Remember when we told you back in 2025?
Yeah.
And kind of have that stuff.
I think we already have that. When did we start the show? Over a year ago?
I know.
But I've doubled since then.
I'm hoping we can get further ahead of the curve because we thought we were ahead of the curve with what we were talking about last year and it's already hitting this year. So I think a fun project that I'd like to start is that it's called the True KOL Project. And you have to present to a blockchain that verifies through an Oracle system your earliest Bitcoin transaction. And depending upon the date, you get status in the community. And then we'll really flesh out who are the KOLs and who are the pretenders. And I'm not pointing my fingers at anybody. Okay. I'm not insinuating that anyone is a KOL. He says as he laughs. I'm not.
All right. That's all right.
Listen,
I've
I'm
been
just saying, guys like Michael Saylor are just the kings of crypto, and he didn't even get in until 2017. So, you know, I think we need to have some ranking system that has some merit instead of just
and
who's the loudest voice on crypto.
to Tillman's
and who
point.
patronizes to the viewers more. That's really what it amounts
To
to.
Tillman's point, I could make a statement about Tillman's true Bitcoin roots going back several years, but I don't think he wants those details, in the ether. But he, if that was the metric, Tillman would be up there amongst the Sailor like KOLs.
Well, I love Bitcoin. That's
yeah.
all I'll say is I look at my title. Bitcoin enthusiast. That's all you need to know, buddy.
All right, guys. Hey, as always, had so much fun with y'all. Thank you for showing up again. I wasn't sure if Tim was going to show up. He was coming in right at 11 o'clock.
That's called being on time, Chris. I'll teach that to you later.
That was being a minute
advanced
late.
courses. No, it was on time. I'm on the Apple iPhone time, which is attached to the atomic clock. So we're good.
All right. Hey, listen, if y'all want more of this, again, every Wednesday we're here. We're doing this thing. You can catch us here on YouTube, on X, on what else? Twitch, on Facebook, even if you use those. If you're boomers and you use Facebook, we're there. I think that's what the kids say anyway today.
I have a new sponsor that has announced that they would like to lead sponsor for the show. It's Just for Men Beard Dye. They're coming in strong with some heavy offers. They still are forcing us to buy the product. They said they can't afford to give away the amount of product that's going to be needed for Andrews, but we're gonna get a deal done for sure.
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree. I'm not changing it though. I like the look. I really
Andrew,
do.
we're having a Deaton date, and we're going to the spa with me, you, and Deaton, and we're all getting Just for Men beard color.
All right. Hey, listen, y'all take care out there. As always, remember the only thing you control is how much you lose. Keep working on that risk management, not just in trading, but in life, folks. Don't YOLO.
Is that really the only thing you can control?
That's the only thing.
It's the only thing you control. Yep. You have no control. All we're saying is you have no control over anything else in the world other than yourself.
Well, our whole business model, Chris, is predicated on giving up control to a robot. So I don't know where this
it's risk management. It's the only thing you control. You're controlling your risk by getting the product. See what we're doing here? Come on, guys. It's not take that much brain power. We got
spiral. FiboSwanny spiral here.
You know what? You both can kiss my hash, all right? I'm out of here.
And with that, we're going to say goodbye before these guys say something that's going to get us banned here. Y'all take care. We'll see you next week.
See you.